Hello and welcome to a fresh episode of Research Plus Practice. Shashwat and I extend you very warm wishes and greetings for this festive season, and we do hope that you are maintaining all the safety standards and protocols to ensure that you stay healthy. Now, we are meeting after a long time. I've been engaged in some of the lectures and sessions over the past month, which kept me away from making a video. But actually, in one of those sessions on strategy execution, I came across this very interesting question. Now, we are also in the midst of IPL, the Indian Premier League for cricket, and one participant asked that how is the performance of an individual a player, if he plays cricket and if he's a very good batsman, then how does his performance vary from one team to another? And actually, the discussion started there, but it ended on a very interesting note. Is our performance in organization also influenced by, or is influenced by in which organization we are? So suppose you are in IT sector and I was in Infosys in my early days. So will with a person like me, with my own capabilities, will I perform differently in Infosys and will I perform differently in say TCS or Wipro? So does an organization also have a role in ensuring or in influencing how I bring my decision making into play? Again, the short answer is yes, but let me give you some background on that from what research has to say about it. What influences an individual's way of working when he moves from one organization to another? One critical thing is organization culture. Now, typically you would have heard in organization, if you are trying to define organization culture, you'll say loosely that, it defines how things are done in that organization, or many times people say, this is how we work. This is our organization, I've been here for so many years, this is who we are. So typically it's a basic set of beliefs and assumptions that larger set of people in the organization have come to believe in, and that is how they interpret the reality. Now, even though an individual has his own value system, their own intricacies, their own beliefs, but when they are working in an organization, that's the beauty of an organization, they are able to superimpose the larger belief sets so that that individual loses some bit of his individuality and starts working in the larger domain of an organization. So when you're working in one organization and when you move to another organization, your individual performance, your individual habits gets deeply influenced by which organization you are working in. Now, you might agree with me, this might be something that you would have experienced in your own careers. But even if you're a fresher, even if you want to know about the research side, well, let me quote to you two very interesting research, and I'll take you way back. I'll take you to the 1930s, and if I'm not wrong, in 1935, Sheriff performed a very interesting experiment. So there is a physiological phenomena by the name autokinetic. Now, what is this phenomena? So, in what people have observed is that when you place a person, an individual, and when you place him in a dark room and you point a stationary light on the wall, the light appears to move. Now, that is an autokinetic experiment. Even though the light is stationary, the observer feels that the light is moving. So think about it. The objective reality is that the light is stationary, but the perception is that it is moving. Now, what Sheriff did in 1935 while doing this experiment, he got people in the room and he asked them in the dark room. When they enter the dark room, he would show them, they will see a dot, a light, a small dot light in the wall, and then he'll ask, how much has the light moved? And people will say 2 centimeter, 5 centimeter, 6 centimeter, and he would note down these observations. And then he asked, instead of sending individuals in the room, he then sent 4 people, 5 people, 6, or groups of people. and he observed that the variations were very less. So earlier where some were saying 2 centimeter, 5 centimeter, now you had the group largely saying, oh, it's 3, 3.2, 3.5, something like that. So what did that tell us? So that gave us a very interesting insight that even that individual's perception gets influenced in a group. So whosoever is around you, your interpretation of reality gets influenced by it. If you look from organization context, it's very interesting because as a leader, you might have to make a judgment whether the environment is, whether your competition is very aggressive or it is very benign. Now, depending on which kind of people you are working with, I'm pretty sure that your assessment of how your competition is behaving would be influenced, and so would your result. This aspect of this experiment may not be something that you might not have experienced. Almost all of us know that yes, our responses get influenced by the people who are around us. The second or the follow-up experiment that I'm talking about, which happened in 1977 by Zucker, and she did a wonderful experiment, and she was trying to understand that fair enough, in a group of people, the responses of individuals vary. But what if the groups keep changing, right? So when we are working in organizations, our organizations may be 50 years old, 100 years old, maybe 10 years old, and so many people move in and move out. Is there really some sort of a group phenomena that is happening? So to understand this, she did another experiment, the same autokinetic experiment, but here this time she made a very interesting change. What she did, she made two dark rooms, say room A and room B, and in both the rooms there was a yellow light pointed in that dark room. Now she got in group A, both of these rooms, two chairs were put. So at any point of time, two people can be there in the room and they will be giving a judgment of how much the light has moved. Remember that the light is not moving, but it is a physiological phenomena that it appears to move. So when she conducted this experiment, when people were going to group to room A, let us say the personal context, so there was already a person in the room, one member of the experimenting team, and when this new person was going for the first time, he was told, you are going in a room where there's a person who has already solved a problem and you have to assist him in solving some problem. The problem was pretty much how much the light has moved. And in room B, let us say the organization context, she made a small twist. And when a new person was added, she said, it was told to the person that you are working for an organization. There's a person from an organization who is already working on a problem and you will be helping that person solve the problem. So same phenomena, two people sitting in a room trying to gauge how much the light has moved. In room A, there's already a first person who is from the experiment team, and a new person is added and he's told that he's just helping that person. In room B, which is the organization context, there's a person already there who's already from the experimenting team, but the newer person who has no clue about it is told that he is going to work for an organization. And so both the teams are set and they are asked, they finally record how much the light has moved in the autokinetic experiment. Now, to understand how changes in the group work, what she then did was, in phase 2, she removed the older or the earlier person from the experimental team and added one new person. Same she did in group B. She removed the person who was there earlier of the two and she added a new person. They again recorded. And this way they kept removing the older person and kept adding a new person and kept recording the things for multiple generations or multiple rounds, as you might like to say, for both group A and group B. Now, interestingly, what came out? So what she found was that group A, which was a personal context where nothing of the word of organization was used, but only it was shared that you are trying to work with a person and help him. There, the results between the first group and the nth or the 10th person did not, there was no correlation or there was no relation at all. So someone might have said 2, some might have said 5, 4, there was no difference. In case of the organization, group B, the organization context, there was a large degree of similarity in the results that were found in round 1 till the last round, right? So what that told you is that just by using or tuning the person who is entering group B by saying an organization context, we were able to perpetuate the behavior of the first generation or of round 1 in the subsequent rounds. Now, this is a very powerful, this has been one of the very interesting experiments, a very powerful paper, because it tells you that how organizations can perpetuate their decision making or their culture. Just by small introduction of the word organization, it opened the person to the thought that there's something that needs to be maintained. And this was a very powerful phenomena. It actually led us to understand that, even though people are moving in and out, the organization culture can permeate and remain for a long period of time. So what did we learn from these 2 experiments? These 2 experiments give us a very, very strong handle on 3 things. Number 1, that individuals' behavior get influenced by the group. So how you work in one organization or how you are able to perform in one organization may differ from how you may perform in another organization. So when you are hiring people and when you are taking them on your roles, feeling that they have performed well in another organization, also try to make a judgment. Is your organization similar to their organization? If that is so, then you can very well say that there won't be much different in its performance. But if your organization is very, very different than the earlier organization, then you need to factor in that aspect. Secondly, this belief that an organization can perpetuate its culture across multiple generations, this gives a very strong tool in terms of leaders and entrepreneurs. If you really want to set your organization the way you want, you can build culture which will be able to overcome the individuality or intricacies of individuals. So secondly, leaders and entrepreneurs have an option of defining how people work in their organization if they are smart to use the aspect of organization culture. And third, and perhaps the most important, many of us who work in the consulting environment, we do get this problem statement of organization change. And if you are working in organization change, my only advice is organization culture takes some time to set. And if it takes some time to set, it will take a good amount of time to change. So organization culture is not something you can change in a few months or even a year. You set in practices and it's a very, very slow process. So if you land up in a assignment on organization change or strategy change, please note that you might be grappling with culture and it may not change as fast as you would like. And though I am a student of strategy, I could not but less agree with what Peter Drucker had to say about organization culture, that culture eats strategy for breakfast. I hope you enjoyed this video. Shashwat and I will be happy to hear your thoughts and feedback. And until next time, goodbye and take care.